Hey friends, welcome back. Today, here's what we got going on. It's a big day. We're making components for tall deck chairs, but these could also be components for rocking chairs or similar components, very similar components for other chairs. Um, what we have on the tall deck chair, we have the back support and the seat support. This is how to go together. Eventually, there's going to be a half lap joint between these two. That'll be another video. But you could see these. I got a whole stack of these right here, and I make them with this template pattern template jig situation. So let me show you. I start the very first step. I go out to where the chop saw is and I cut them to length, and then I put a 15-degree miter on the end, and then we come into here and I've got this jig that I built. I saw some ideas, and maybe there was a fine woodworking episode that I found online. It wasn't like I found it in an old magazine. Um, I use this for a few different components. That's why it's got more than two clamps on it, and it's basically a one-purpose fixture, but it works like a charm. I've put my stock in here, my predetermined stock, and this is my perfect mastered template. It's got a little bit of road rash, but it's still very much intact. And I put about 4 coats of polyurethane that was half mixed with paint thinner, so it absorbed into the wood quite a bit. I'm very happy with that. I could put these 45 cuts out on the chop saw. I could, because it's so automatic. Carry this to a stop or to a mark and cut it and flip it and cut it. But I've been comfortable doing it like this. I place this on top. Get that back out of the way. I place the pattern on top of the material. First thing I do, I get it flush, perfectly flush on the end. And then I bring the pattern to the front of the material up here. Perfectly flush, I clamp it down. By the way, I'm going to leave a link to these clamps. These clamps are amazing. They're Bessie. They say that they'll grab any thickness of material, but there are several adjustments, and once you get it dialed in, they're really wonderful. I come to this side, and I'm going to flush up these two faces right about there. Clamp it down. It's a very secure clamp. The other side is flush because everything's in line, and you can see that everything is in line, everything's clamped down. I can even do this one, even though I don't need it right now, but I could, it certainly won't hurt. So now we're going to come over to the bandsaw. Now I've got a 1/2 inch blade on my bandsaw. It does have dust collection all over it. However, even with some holes drilled in here, the dust collection is very lacking on this particular saw. It's quite an upgrade of a saw for me, so I'm not going to complain about that, but eventually I'll improve it. I believe there's some ways to build some shroud around underneath. But here we go. So we're going to cut just off of the pattern. We're going to leave about an 1/8 inch, maybe less. Now you can see I've cut away from the master pattern template. Make the cut without cutting into the template because you want to use that template forever and ever. Now we're going to the router table. I'll turn on my dust collection, even though it only collects a little bit because the dust flies everywhere on this. So here I've got this bearing bit. It's got a 2-inch cutting depth, several teeth on there. It's got a 1/2-inch shaft on it. And what we do, we bring the pattern to the bearing like so, and then the bit cuts flush with the pattern. And it throws dust everywhere, but we'll try to collect as much as we can. And that's it. I take it out of the clamps. It's a perfect cut, perfect shape. It doesn't need to be sanded or cleaned up. It's ready to go, 100%. So with this particular jig, I got the seat support and the back support with this jig. And I even have a little stop block I put in here, kind of like that, holds that in place, and then I do something like that with the seat support, and then I remove the stop block for the back support, and it fits on there wonderfully. Similar, very similar to that, I have one for armrests. Now I have 2 different style armrests. One has an 1.5 inch offset, and the other one has the arch in the middle but does not have an offset. But they each require their own master template, and these work magnificently, and these work magnificently. I put this little stop block in here just to give you something to line that up with. And then when I drop that piece of wood in there, one other thing to note, let's say I have this going around. As I bring this around, I ended up putting an additional stop block here, just in case I slip, just in case I go too far. I want the bearing to hit something and not hit my hand. Certainly don't want to hit my hand. I typically come at it right here, and I typically have a little more depth, maybe a little more like that. So I'm away, and as long as I keep my hands on these handles, I'm never going to hit that bit. But if I happen to go too far, it's going to hit this block. This one, I do a little wrap around that corner. And when I come around there, it also hits the block. And it hits the block once it's cleared the corner. It's just a safety precaution. I don't want to accidentally have the bit dig into the blade. So I have something at the bearing level to stop it. It's a safety feature that just made sense. As I was learning about this, being self-taught, I thought, well, hang on a second. Here's an area where I can improve the safety. So right now I've got my seat supports. I've got enough to make 10 chairs. So I have 20 supports because there's 2 for each chair. And I'm just beginning the process of making these for the back supports, and it works like a charm. You could use your template, put it on top of the stock, trace it out, and cut it with a jigsaw or the bandsaw. This just makes it perfect. I like having things perfect when you can, without much additional effort. It does take a little bit longer, but they're perfect. So you can see there, this doesn't take very much effort, very much time, and it gives you perfect results. The reason I even came up with this, or not that I invented it, but I had to incorporate it into my routine, is because I make a lot of outdoor furniture plans. And I got this idea, what if I sell templates? A lot of people ask, do you sell templates? When originally I just had downloads available, and I wanted to get into templates. And then I thought, well, the templates have to be perfect. And I bought some from a company a long time ago. They were made up from a CNC, and honestly, truthfully, mine are much more accurate. Mine are cleaner than the CNC. Mine are perfect every time. The CNC had the little bumps and ridges after all those little areas where it has to not let go of the piece of wood. I've got a stack here of 1/4 inch MDF. I've got much more of a stack over there, and I sell these in a few different locations. Actually, I sell them on Etsy, I sell them on my personal website, and I sell them on Amazon, and I'll include the links to all those. I believe you get the best deal from my personal website, but Etsy and Amazon have the traffic. I have limited traffic. With the 1/4 inch MDF, I can cut 6 at a time with the same setup, the same tools, the same everything, because 6 equals 1.5 inches, which is the same as all this. So I can cut 6 that are perfect, and when I take them out of the jig, they don't need to be touched up with a sanding block. They are ready to go. They're 100% ready to go. And I've got these for the armrests also. They're all perfect. Anyway, thanks for checking it out. I like sharing what I do, and hopefully this helps you. Not everybody needs to make 10 tall chairs or a bunch of templates, but maybe this process can help your application, whatever it may be. And I hope you learned something here. Specialty clamps with a homemade jig and homemade, that was another thing. I thought, how do I make these? But they got to be perfect. Well, I made a few that were pretty good. And I cleaned them up really nicely with a belt sander and with my oscillating sander. And I thought, let's go with it. So let's seal it up. We'll have it for a really long time. And if I ever need to duplicate this onto some other material, I could do that. But these are the masters, and they're going to follow me around for a while. Anyway, thanks for sticking around. Thanks for checking out this process. Thanks for checking out all of my videos, and take a look at the other videos. I do a lot of outdoor woodworking. I do a lot of outdoor furniture, and I like to show a lot of the process to go along with that outdoor furniture. And this is just part of it. Helps me be efficient. I'm already slow. I'm slow because I pay attention to detail. And I hear other guys saying, I can make this many in a day. And I'm like, well, I can't make that many in 3 days. But I do what I do. And I stand by my work. I love, I make a good product for what, you know, they're not pianos, but in this area, they're quality, it's quality outdoor furniture is what I make. A premier outdoor furniture. Just like the sign says, premier outdoor furniture. Thanks again. See you on the next one.